Have you ever been in a situation where you were so stressed, so under pressure that you just did something you knew you shouldn't? You felt the clock ticking, everyone was looking at you, and you just cracked? Well, today we're diving into the story of someone who did exactly that, on a national scale, with devastating consequences. We're talking about King Saul, Israel's very first king, and the moment his reign began to unravel. Picture this. Saul is a new king, the first one Israel has ever had. The nation is transitioning from being led by judges to a monarchy. It's a huge deal, and right out of the gate he's facing a massive threat. The Philistines, Israel's longtime enemies, have gathered a colossal army. The Bible describes it as being as numerous as the sand on the seashore. Saul, by comparison, has a much smaller, terrified force of about 3,000 men. They're camped at a place called Gilgal, waiting. The prophet Samuel, who was the spiritual leader of Israel and the one who anointed Saul as king, had given him a clear instruction: wait for me for 7 days. When I arrive, I will offer the sacrifices, and then I will tell you what to do. Simple enough, right? Just wait. But as the days tick by, Saul's situation gets worse. 1 day passes, then 2, then 5. Samuel is nowhere to be seen. Meanwhile, Saul's soldiers are looking at the massive Philistine army, and they start to panic. They begin to desert, slipping away into the hills. Saul's army is melting before his eyes. The pressure is immense. He's the king. He's supposed to lead. He's supposed to do something. He feels the weight of his men's fear, the impending doom of the Philistine threat, and the deafening silence from Samuel. Finally, on the 7th day, the deadline Samuel set, Saul can't take it anymore. He's out of time, or so he thinks. His impatience gets the better of him. He convinces himself that something must be done to boost morale and secure God's favor. So, he makes a fateful decision. He decides to take matters into his own hands, even though it was strictly forbidden for anyone but a priest or prophet to perform these sacred rituals. Saul commands the burnt offerings and peace offerings to be brought to him, and he performs the sacrifice himself. He breaks a direct command from God, delivered through the prophet Samuel. It's an act of impatience, yes, but it's also much more than that. It's a statement. It shows he trusts his own judgment more than God's timing. It reveals a lack of faith, a belief that he needs to control the situation rather than wait for divine guidance. He prioritized the ritual over true obedience. And wouldn't you know it, just as he finishes making the offering, who shows up? Samuel. The timing is almost tragically comedic. Samuel walks into the camp and immediately asks, "What have you done?" Saul immediately starts making excuses. You can almost hear the panic in his voice as he tries to rationalize his actions. He says, "Well, I saw my men were scattering and you didn't arrive on time, and the Philistines were gathering for battle. So I felt compelled. I forced myself to offer the sacrifice to seek the Lord's favor." He's basically saying, "It wasn't my fault. The circumstances forced my hand. I was just trying to do the right thing, to honor God." But Samuel isn't buying it. He sees right through the excuses. His response is one of the most powerful and sobering moments in the entire story. He tells Saul, "You have done a foolish thing. You have not kept the command the Lord your God gave you." Samuel then delivers the devastating judgment. He explains that if Saul had just been obedient, God would have established his kingdom over Israel forever. But now, because of this single act of disobedience born from fear and impatience, his kingdom would not endure. God had already sought out a man after his own heart, a man who would be obedient to be the next leader. This, of course, was the first hint of David's future rise. This event at Gilgal was the beginning of the end for King Saul. It was the first major crack in the foundation of his reign. It set a pattern of behavior that would ultimately lead to his downfall. His story shows that for leadership, especially spiritual leadership, obedience is more important than anything else. More important than grand gestures, more important than rituals, and certainly more important than giving in to fear and pressure. From this point on, we see Saul's reign spiral downwards. His disobedience wasn't just a one-time mistake. It revealed a deeper issue in his heart: pride, self-righteousness, and a lack of true faith. Later, he would again disobey God's direct command regarding the Amalekites, trying to rationalize his actions by saying he saved the best animals to sacrifice to God. And again, Samuel delivers that famous line, "To obey is better than sacrifice." God doesn't want grand religious performances if our hearts aren't in the right place. He wants simple, faithful obedience. Saul's fear of the people and his desire to control outcomes led him further and further away from God. This initial act of impatience grew into a pattern of rebellion. This rebellion eventually manifested as intense jealousy and hostility towards David, the very man God had chosen to replace him. Saul spent years hunting David, consumed by paranoia and rage, all while his kingdom suffered. The consequences weren't just for Saul. His poor leadership and disobedience brought hardship upon the entire nation of Israel, including famine. His choices ultimately impacted the lives of innocent people, including his own sons, who tragically died in battle alongside him. His tragic end, where he takes his own life on the battlefield after consulting a medium. Another act of profound unfaithfulness serves as a powerful illustration of the dangers of a leader who turns from God. The story of Saul is a cautionary tale that echoes through the ages. It's about how impatience can lead to critical mistakes. It's about how pressure can cause us to make rash decisions we later regret. But most importantly, it's a powerful reminder of the importance of faith and obedience. It teaches us that true strength is found not in taking control, but in trusting the plan and the timing of a power greater than ourselves. Saul's legacy is a stark warning. Disobedience and pride lead to downfall, while obedience and humility are the true keys to lasting success and favor. Thanks for watching and exploring this incredible story with me. If you found this interesting, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into stories that have shaped our world. See you next time, and God bless.